Talk therapy. Sisters, let's talk. Get ready for real, raw, and relevant information. We don't hold back. Topics from ministry, life, marriage, and everything in between. So, buckle up, hold on tight. Here are your hostesses, Tara and Melody. Talk therapy. Listen, let's talk.
Hello, 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 hello. It is Tuesday, you guys. Can you believe we are in August already? We are in August. It is Tuesday, August the 4th, and guess what? It is time for Talk Therapy. I am your host, Tara T. Stallings, and
I am Melody Manning, the co-host. How y'all doing this evening?
yes, Belly, this is going to be a hot topic because you know our topics are always real, raw, and relevant. But I think this one is going to hit home for so many African American, Latino, mixed males and females.
Yes, males and females.
Males and females. I think this is a cultural topic, and if you guys have been following us, I know I put the topic up a little bit late. The topic is colorism in the home and in the community. Colorism in the home and in the community. So we're going to really get into it tonight because this is an interesting topic. This is something that most people have dealt with or dealing with in some type of form, fashion, or otherwise. And I think we just need to talk about, man, you do have a little bit of background noise. I don't know. I heard some background, yeah. So you guys, if you're just logging on, make sure that you like, you share. And a lot of people saying, what is colorism? That's what it is. You know, in the family, you've been called black, little nappy-headed, little red girl, little red boy, the curly head boy. You know, this is what colorism is. In school, in different places, even as adults. So it's something that we need to talk about. And it starts in the home. You know, a lot of times things are said within our families, from our parents, from our siblings, and they're done not necessarily to be directly hurtful, but they are directly hurtful and harmful, and it translates throughout a person's life, throughout their stages of life, and it affects them emotionally and psychologically, and sometimes behaviorally. So I think we need to talk about it. I think we need to talk about it, and a little bit more detail tonight. A little bit more detail.
Yeah, and but you know, with colorism, it's a topic that I that I realize that we don't talk about it today a whole lot, but it still is prevalent among our society. And we can't deal with some outside racisms until we deal with the internal racisms that we have among each other.
I'm gonna have to stop you. Can you say that again, please? Say that again.
We can't deal with outside racism until we deal with the internal racisms that we have going on within our community. And when I say our community, I mean African Americans, the black community. We diminish ourselves so much till we actually help them, have. Let me back that up. We don't. We do it so much amongst ourselves that we make it easier for other cultures to project racism among us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to start valuing ourselves and do the work within our community to heal our community. I'm gonna say to heal, because racism has, colorism has so many effects after the math. And a lot of it is verbal things that we heard when we were children, as you said. And it's a male and it's a female thing. And we know that it was something that was started during slavery. You know,
Right.
it went back as far as you had the house servants. They usually tended to be a little bit lighter. Well, then let me just say it like this. They tended to be a little bit lighter because, as we all know, as part of our history, is that the slave owner slept with the slaves. Well, who first in line? No other than the housewoman, you know. So that constituted some of it, and then it also, the slaves learned, were taught that the lighter skin, which were usually your house servants, were better than those that were in the field, which tended to be darker complex. So we've got to look at that and the lasting damages that it has done. I did a paper for one of my English classes while I was in college, and my topic was colorism, and I had a African American female professor, and she told me we don't have colorism these days. This is not a relevant topic. Well, I argued that, and I can say I have proof to it. So when, and I mean, this is why when we take a look at, when we started seeing some of our darker complex models, actresses come to forefront, we celebrated them because of their skin tone. So that tells you right there that it is still an issue in society all over.
Yes.
With that, when Black Panther came out, some of us were excited not just because they were all in African attire and there was royalty in the movie. We were just happy to see somebody that looked like some of us, meaning darker complexion. Because a lot of your big box movies, they don't have your darker skin female, or, well, males are a little bit better, but females, you don't see a lot of them in your mainstream movies or whatnot. Not even your mainstream music videos and stuff. So we do need to talk about it, and we also need to address the issue starting at a young age with our kids, because as you were saying, the things that we speak out of our mouth, we may not realize the lasting effects that it may cause.
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Definitely. I would even, say, want to just add on to, when it comes to it's not just, and when we talk about colorism, it's not just skin tone. It's also the texture of your hair.
yes,
It's also your facial features. If your eyes are big, if your lips are too big, your nose is too wide.
if your
You know,
nose is too wide.
you know, we are and we're talking about, this starts in home. This starts at home. And then it translates into the community and then out throughout society. We have not been taught to celebrate. I never forget, and I share this with you. My mother's grandmother. She was a very, 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 very dark woman. I remember her. I remember her when I was little. She was very dark, very dark. And my mom told me that she told them when they were growing up. Now, mind you, let me just give you a little backstory. My grandmother, my mom's mother, was, Mister had been to the field, had been over there in the barn and messed with some of the folks. And my grandmama looked like a little white lady. You know what I'm saying? Mister and her brothers and sisters, they look, they could pass. They look like white people. So, but my grandmother, my mom's mom and dad were total different. They were, my grandmother looked like a little white lady, and my grandfather was midnight dark. He was dark. Beautiful skin. Beautiful dark skin. Beautiful dark skin. So the children came out in between, kind of looking like mocha. You know, they came out of mocha coat. So with that, my mom shared that her grandmama told them, and I'm not gonna call my grandmama name, my great grandmama name. She told them, don't y'all, and this is how my mom said, she said it, don't y'all marry no black A nigga, no black A man. Don't y'all marry no black A man. Meaning, don't marry a really dark skinned man. Now, when she said that, my mom said she said it, I was like, well, was she real dark? All her children dark? But it was taught then that it was something wrong to marry a darker skin, black person. And today, we still see the effects of, if you're darker, it's something wrong with you. If you're lighter, you're pretty and you're accepted. And so we need to talk about that. And I don't want to leave out my lighter skinned black women, or even the mixed men and women, because I hear your pain also. Because you deal with you being lighter, the white, and I'm gonna say the Caucasian people don't accept you if you mix, then. And the darker people don't want to be bothered with, or they talking about you because, oh, you think you cute because with your red self, because that's what the words that we use in house. Oh, you red with your little red self. So you have an imbalance when it comes to, in the home and in the African American, well, I hate to say African American, and the black community, when it comes to our hair, our skin color. So you're battling. Oh, you got nice, pretty hair, and you're light skin, and everybody else in your family dark skin. They pick at you. Oh, you think you're cute. If you are the darker one in the family, and everybody else is light, oh, with your little black self. Oh, you went out, Melody. I don't know what happened. Okay. Oh, with your little black self. So, so they're in a toss between I do or I don't. And we don't have a choice of how we come in this world looking. But we have to talk about this. And I shared this, and I shared with you earlier about, I'm at Payne College, and a lot of the churches locally and around Augusta, what I call highfalutin, and this is when I talk about this, I'm talking about like in the 60s, 50s, 60s, that still carry a little of that colorism today. You had those churches in Payne College. They did the brown paper bag. You had the AKAs and you had the Deltas. The Deltas were the darker ones. The AKAs were the lighter ones. So if you had the past color bag, the brown paper bag, if you were darker than the brown paper bag, you weren't accepted. Can you imagine what that does to a child, to a adolescent, to a young adult? Because they have no control of how they look. And just comparing them by their skin color, the texture of their hair, the length of their hair, the width of their nose and lips. Can you imagine what it does to their self-esteem?
Yes. And also not only it falls into self-esteem. It can cause you to think that you're only worthy of certain things, because that's what colorism does a lot. with things. Because with the colorism, and we said it's a male and a female thing. A lot of the males, their masculinity is based on their color. Your lighter males, they you they put them in a box and say, you know what, they are weaker. They're pretty boys.
Yes.
The darker you are, the stronger you are, the more prevalent your masculinity is, because the darker ones tend to be stronger or whatnot. The lighter ones were the pretty boys. They're not gonna do some things that your darker men would do. They're not gonna
Right.
get their hands dirty. They're not gonna cut any grass or whatnot. And your darker man will get out and do those things. So that is colorism. We've
Yes.
separated them. A lot of the people look at that were projecting it may not even have realized at the time that they were projecting it, was that the lighter you are, the prettier you are, the straighter your hair is, the prettier you are, and whatnot. And we know sometimes that's not true. And then with your darker females, we find ourselves trying harder. And matter of fact, I just heard that in an interview. What's his name? Big Fendi did with Cardi B, and he was saying, well, your brown girls got to work harder now. They got to step their game up because you're on the scene. And I'm saying, okay, why a brown girl got to work harder? Because Cardi B is on the scene, and they were talking about color. So nobody get it confused, because I listened to the whole thing. They were referring to color because they were having a conversation about color. And he did specifically say you're brown girls. And that bothered me, because you may be a brown girl and want to be in that industry, and you can wrap circles around Cardi B. Are you saying she's going to have a hard time because of her skin tone? These are some of the things we've got to start addressing and talking about. And we need to start talking with our children about it, because we don't realize how important it is. Because once you put them in that box, they're going to carry that box around with them until they get some healing from it
Yes.
and able to move past it. You've added something else on for your child to carry. And then some of us adults, we have experienced it. Nobody has talked about it. And we're still carrying it deep down inside. Because I'm pretty sure if all of us really think there's been a time in our life where we have actually experienced colorism, be it in elementary school, be it at home, because some girls, just like you said, your great grandma said, hey, don't you marry them. Some of us was told, if he ain't the color of this brown paper bag, don't you bring him to the house.
That's right. Right.
Not even realize, and this did not come from a lighter skin. It could have possibly came from somebody darker. And we know within the Black community, color for us is a tricky thing, because your parents could be one color and you could come out a whole nother color.
Listen, let me tell you something. And,
So it's not our fault what color we come out.
yeah. And look, and a lot of people have divorced because they're brown skin and the baby come out so yellow. And I had a client. No, really, I had a client. He was my complexion. Her ex-husband at the time was about maybe a little bit darker than I. And she had a beautiful little girl. I never forget, because I pulled her to the back. I was younger than y'all. I pulled her to the back. She brought this little pretty baby in the salon. This is like in the 90s. And the baby was really, 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 really light. She had blonde hair and gray eyes. So I pulled to the. Anybody know me? I'm a little refined now, but I still ask you what I want to ask you. So I pulled her to the back and I said, "Well, listen, you sure that's that baby daddy? Because this baby don't look like nobody." she laughed. She said she looks like my great grandmother. She took after my great grandmother. Now, ironically, she divorced her husband and she got remarried to an even darker man. They had a little girl. Now, this little girl didn't have blonde hair and gray eyes, but she came out just as light. I said, oh my goodness. So, we produce an array of brown colors, brown to tan colors, because if anyone knows anything about the color black, and I'm just going to use the color black, all colors, all the primary colors encompasses black. All primary colors encompasses black. The primary colors, red, blue, and green, red, blue, and yellow. You put those three colors together and equal, you're gonna get black or dark brown in some kind of way. So, and with that, she had to go through a dog. You like your mama, you don't look like this. Going through life being ostracized because when people look, who you look like? Who does this person look like? And this is damaging. This can be very damaging to a person. And like you said, Melody, even throughout adulthood, I shared with you earlier, I have a client that, she's an older lady. She's way up in her age. And she still deals with, the color of her skin because of the things that happened to her when she was younger. Beautiful woman. I mean, beautiful. But it did so much damage that when she looks at herself, she thinks her skin tone is ugly. And her skin tone is beautiful. And she's not even really that dark, as what we call dark. But it's damaging, and we have to be aware of and address colorism and the damage it has done and the damage that it's doing to our children, to our young men, our young boys, even our teenagers. And I shared with you about my granddaughter. Summertime, kids go out there running. I said, oh, girl. I said, you been out there, you got a little black. Like there's something wrong with that. And that came from my bringing up. And I really have to catch myself. Oh, girl. Not. And it gives a complex, like if I get dark with something wrong. And I like me old dark skin, chocolate, silky man. I love old silky black man. Nothing like it. It's nothing like old silky, some dark chocolate silky with some pretty white teeth. Nothing. So what the old people say, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, the more antioxidants they produce.
Well,
so let's talk about it. Why is it? And you guys, you're listening. If you're listening, we want you to chime in. Why are we still in 2020 dealing with colorism, that if you're not lighter than the brown paper bag, got a certain texture of hair, a certain length of hair, certain features, that you're not attractive? Why do we still deal with it? I want you guys to chime in, Mel.
Please do. And like you said, colorism also goes into more than just the tone of your skin. It also goes into the hair. And I'm gonna share a little bit. Now, I've been natural for years. I if my hair was short, it was always by choice. I didn't keep it short long because I always say I got that straight out of Africa. Can't you? Don't you have? But for years, I had wanted to be natural because I did. I had a head full of thick hair, so much to my hairstylist would hate to see me coming. And she'd be like, I got to charge you extra for your hair because your hair just soak up, relax, and it's so long and I can't do nothing. I remember when I had my son, Sharon had set my hair on some rollers. I sat under the dryer for about 5 hours. That's how long and thick my hair was. And it still was not dry. I had to go
Wow.
home with my curls pinned. She didn't even get to style it because it was still wet. But one thing I do remember, and I'm sorry I got off track, is when I was little, and I believe your mama was the one that had pressed my hair at Essence. I'll never forget, I was in the first grade and I had got my hair pressed because my daddy stopped my mama from doing my hair. I had went to the salon, hair was pressed, and once my hair was pressed, my pigtails hung past my shoulder. And I remember people at that point, well, I always say the other little kids at school, and even some adults will say, "Oh, you got Indian hair. Your hair look like Indian." And I was confused because I was like, "Well, what is Indian hair? Why are they saying
Mhm.
it? What does that mean? This is just my hair." But even growing up, I realized, and when I did go natural, it did become prevalent to me at that time that people do judge you on the texture of your hair. And,
Yeah.
and I started wondering why we always trying to conform. And let me say this, there's nothing wrong with anybody got a relaxer. I wore relaxers for years. It just was not me. It was doing more damage to me than anything else. So if you wear a relaxer, that's up to you. But my thing is, why do I need to conform to the standard that somebody else has established for
Yes.
me? I should want the long silky hair. And we teach our little girls this. One thing I'm happy my grandbabies, they are locked. They have natural hair, and it was their choice.
Mhm.
We didn't choose that for them. That was a choice that they made. And I sat down and I cried when my granddaughter said, "Hey, I want to lock my hair." And I'm like, oh, it takes a lot for her to say that and do that because some of the other kids don't understand and wouldn't be as nice to her. But
Mhm.
why do we have to conform to what somebody else has set for a standard for us? And if we choose to be natural, why is it like we're something different? Because hair is hair.
Yeah.
That
So
to me, when you go to beauty school, that's what you should be taught. Hair
that's
is
right.
hair because
It
even
is.
Caucasians have different hair types. They
That's
can
right.
have some nappy cancer, don't you, like I got, and be a Caucasian.
And
But we
that's so
we put
true.
it in categories.
Yeah. Why do we do that? Why do you think we have gotten to the point where we still in 2002 we judge each other on what color, what tone, what skin tone we are, what texture hair we have, is it long hair? Because and I'm thinking now my first profession. I'm a health and beauty. I'm in the health and beauty industry. I'm a cosmetologist. And you see at any given time 30 inches of somebody else's straight hair on somebody's head. You very often, very seldom see 30 inches of somebody getting some natural, kinky hair sewn in their head. You don't see that. Or a natural, like a blown out natural kinky hair. You hardly ever see that. You see the girls that got straight silky hair, and that's the look they have conformed to, and that's the look that society has deemed as acceptable for African American women, women of color. But women, Caucasian women, and other women, they don't deal with that. They're not dealing with that. But we have put a standard and a cap on what is acceptable when it comes to our hair, when it comes to our skin tone, our bodies, because I would call that colorism. You have more African American women. You know, you have a lot of Caucasian women going to get breast implants, but butt implants now. But you have African American women going to get their butt tops enlarged so that they can deem themselves acceptable in a society that I have said over and over, their 100 is a lie because they change all the time. So why do we feel that we have to adjust to what others have deemed as the standard of beauty or the standard of color for the woman or man of color, I would say.
Let me say this, and I'm gonna try to find a politically correct way to say this without offending anyone. And it's not, what I'm about to say is not towards everyone. I do believe your look is your personal choice, but know why you are picking the look that you have, be it to conform to a European style or to go natural or whatnot. Know why you're doing what you're doing and be comfortable in it. And don't separate yourself from someone else to think you're basically at a point a little bit better or a little bit different because they are not like you. Some of it, I think, is we don't, we're not fully educated. I'm going to say that. Some of it is based in self-esteem. Some of it is based in um, oh my goodness, I just had the word in my head. Not knowing your self-worth, not being educated, self-esteem, and fear. I'm gonna say fear. And the reason I feel that I can say fear is because before I went natural, I had wanted to be natural for a couple years and was afraid to do it because of what everyone else would think if I went natural. So, to a sense, my hair controlled me for a while, thinking about how everybody else would take um, me going natural with my hair. A lot of it, I think, if we knew our history, then
Mhm.
maybe some people would make different choices, or maybe they wouldn't separate a whole nother group within their own culture based on what they've decided to do.
Right.
And I'm gonna venture to say some of it may be a little bit of self-hate as well.
I would say that also. I would say that yeah, I would say that yes, that's a little bit of self-hate because we have not learned to love ourselves. We have not learned to love ourselves.
And that's because we have been bombarded with images that did not look like the majority of us for years. Even our parents, were starting to be bombarded with things, and a lot of it came from, and I'm gonna venture to say this, a lot of it came from television, the change in times from, I would say, probably the mid 70s, no, I'm gonna say early 70s, the changes that took place. Some things became more common in the home, such as magazines, television. A lot of this played a big part of it. So when they started seeing these images so frequently, they wanted to look like those images. And then they started believing that those images were it because they saw it so much.
Yes. But
Those are
would you
things to
I would
think
say
about.
that's still today. I would say that we have a little bit of that today.
We
I would
do.
say, yeah, I would say that we deal with a little bit of that also in the society where we are today.
We do. We
Yeah,
do.
I would say
Especially
that.
entertainment, media wise, your magazines, those type of things, your music videos and stuff. Those are the type of thing. And then I'm gonna say this: even the men, and I don't know if it's fair for me to say this, but I'm gonna say this: when you look at a lot of men that are in high positions, um, and if you look at their spouses that they're choosing, now I believe marry who you love. But if you look at a lot of their spouses, they are lighter complexion women,
Mm-hmm.
So that too also, all of that affects the little girls and the little boys, that we're raising
Oh, I don't know. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay, okay,
Okay, I'm back. That
okay.
we're raising up into what they see. So, you know, marry who you love, but it's just something to look at and to think about. Because to me, when you're looking at that, it makes you think about some of the things that they may have seen, that they may have been taught. That's why I say colorism is not just a female thing. We talk about it more. Men, it affects them also, but they just don't talk about it as much.
Yes, they do not. They do not
No,
talk about it.
no, because they laugh at they laugh it off. Whereas women, when we hear a remark made about color of skin, we tend to get offended. We get mad. We're ready to talk about it. But men, they laugh it off. Hey man, it's the light skinned man season, and they all laugh it off at that point. Though, so men are affected by it as well. And
Yes.
it's not. And let me say this: we don't want to leave because I'm a brown girl. Tara's a brown girl also. Even for the lighter complexion um, women, it's also hard for them because do you can you imagine the stress and the stuff that's put on them just for the fact that they are lighter? Because let's be realistic. Um, we have it within us, but it's also outside of us. So when we're at jobs and stuff, and these are proven facts, because I did look up a lot of information on this. Even in jobs, your lighter skin blacks, they get promotions, they get higher pay than their darker counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
So they're put in a position they may be having to perform in that they may not be qualified for, simply because they were placed in that position because of the color of their skin.
Yes. Yes.
And that they're placed in that group where, oh, you're better, so they're going to do better because they're lighter tone, so that can be
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pressure on them also. So it's just not your darker complexion blacks that carry a lot of weight. Your lighter skin carry a lot of weight also, with colorism as well. And we see it a lot. We even see it in the beauty industry. And when I say the beauty industry, just like Tara was saying, you don't see women going to the salons getting all this natural long hair sewn in. They getting the straight hair. I don't even know all the different names for because I was never a weave wearer because I always had hair, so I don't even know all the names for the different types of hair. But even with that, when we look at makeup, we're just now, and we're still at the baby stage of it now, where we're seeing more beauty companies that are now catering to your darker brown skin girls.
Yes, yes.
And I'm not just speaking of your darker complexion girls, because I even have a hard time matching up makeup to match my skin tone.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of your companies are trying. I'm saying that's why we're still in the baby stages of it. And here it is, 2020. You know, how long has makeup been around? Foundations. Speaking of foundation, how long have they been around? And they're still in the baby steps because they're just now trying to cater to us. We
Mm-hmm.
are the biggest consumers right now. We spend more money than anybody.
Yes,
And
especially
they
on.
are just now trying to accommodate us when it comes to foundations. That's why Rihanna was such a big hit because she had so many different tones. We are a very unique people because we do come in so many different shades. Our melon can range so many different shades. It's almost hard to, pinpoint it. But like I said, it's 2020 and the beauty industry is just now saying, you know what, we need to do better.
Yes, yes.
And then there is and I can't even think of her name. I meant to look it up. She was on a reality show. It was a black lady. I want to say she was African. She actually has a line of hair weave that she sells that ranges in different kinky stages and different lengths for, and she's a millionaire you know, over
Mm-hmm.
millions because that market has been pretty much left out.
Yeah.
Because if it's long, it's gonna be straight, bone
Yeah.
straight.
Why do you think that is? You know, why do you think with all this technology, with marketing, we know that the African American woman, the black woman spends more money than any other race, gender of people. And they know that we come in an array of colors, shades, tones, textures. Why do you think it took so long for someone to corner the market for the real? That, and when I say the real, I mean just the regular old average African American woman. That's
They re-
that.
they respected our dollar, but then they didn't respect our look because to them,
Oh,
because
say
to
that again,
us,
please. Please say that again. I don't want you to go too fast.
I said they respected our dollar, but they didn't respect our look. And I can take that even further because then that could even go into plus size clothing because I'm a big
Mm-hmm.
girl. You know, they respect our dollar, they want our dollar, but they did not respect our look
Mm-hmm.
because not only are we making it okay to say our look is a negative thing, they take it as a negative thing also.
Yeah.
If we can get it together and say, hey, we come in all different shades, you need to accommodate us with the all different shades, all
Yeah.
different hair textures, and not just the brown girls. If our lighter girls stand with us and say this and watch our spending on products and whatnot, we can get so much done.
I shared this with one of my coworkers a few years ago. And well, it wasn't a few years ago. I think it was like last year, maybe. And if you guys see that I have braids in my hair today. Well, I had the locks because and Melody had wears locks, they're her locks, and I think they're beautiful. So I don't have locks, so I went and bought me some. I went and bought me some locks, some faux locks. So I had an event, and it was a formal event, and I said, "Well, I got to take my locks out and wear my hair straight." He was like, "Well, why you got to do that?" I said, "Let me tell you why I got to do that." I said, because even though my locks, I like them. I said the where I'm going, the people that I'm going to be around with this style and how I look and my presentation, I will be intimidating to them. He said, no, I don't think so. I said, yeah. I said, because let me tell you this. People of other colors, race, predominantly Caucasian, whether it's male or female, if you have a two, and when I'm gonna say two, when you look too black, they get intimidated by you. I don't care if you are a doctor. I don't care if you driving a Bentley. I don't care if you living in their neighborhood. If you look too ethnic, too black, that comes with a sense of intimidation for the average, not all, but the average Caucasian person or non-black person. And I would even say, we're talking about colorism. You have certain black people that are intimidated by other black people that look too black. And when I say look too black, they're wearing their hair natural. They have the wide nose. You know, we have some tall sisters and brothers. They so dark. They look like they'll hurt somebody. What? How can you look at somebody and be intimidated by their look? Having had a conversation with them or anything, you just look, oh, look how they're wearing it. They might be a thief. They may be sick. So we have these issues within our own culture that we are not dealing with, but and that's translated into other cultures. When they do something and they say something, we get upset and want to, oh, you saying that about this and this and this. But we say it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. And and this is just my opinion. I believe because we have not dealt with it within the home, within our own community, within our culture, how can we expect somebody else to treat us differently when we're not treating ourselves differently? When we still deal with it, when we still come in with your little nappy headed self, come in with your big nose self, come here with your little red self, come here with your, that's what we say, or go sit down with your little, your big booty self. We say all kind of stuff. Your big teeth, whatever. We say all of these things. Or with your little red self. You think you keep. We still do this today. But we expect, I'm going to use this word, outsiders, to treat us with a certain caliber of respect when we ourselves don't do it. My mama taught me, and I have always said, and I'm going to continue, if you don't treat yourself that way, how can you expect somebody else to treat you that way? People treat you how you treat yourself. People only treat you the way you accept it and the way that you treat yourself. So how can we expect society to treat us a different way? When we got to fix in-house. We got to do some in-house work. As a people of multiple colors, multiple textures, we need to do this in-house work and understand it's okay. We come in different colors. We come in different textures. We come that way. I say this because, this bothers me. When I hear someone say, especially, oh, it's some little African kid that would love to have your long hair. Well, let me just say this to you guys. For people that believe everybody in Africa got short, bald-headed, nappy hair. That's a lie. We got people in parts of Africa that got long, pretty hair. When we say pretty, it look like got mixed with Indian in family. You got people that's black, Africans, that got straight hair, look like it's white people hair. You have them. You have them. You have black people that have blonde hair and blue eyes. and dark skin. You have them, and they have been. Mister hadn't been over there touching.
Yeah,
They have.
that's true.
So we gotta get over this stuff. We have to stop allowing social media and the media to tell us what is politically correct, what is acceptable when it comes to your looks. You don't come here with a choice on how you look. You don't come here with that choice. So
And
why don't you allow people to tell us how we look? Go ahead, Melanie.
let me say this too, because one thing, we so busy trying to look like them, and they trying to look like us.
Amen, church.
Because I have seen some Caucasian women, you had to do a double take because they've tanned so much.
Yes.
They a lot of your Caucasians, they want the color that we have naturally,
Mm-hmm.
that melon, and we are over here. We putting people in certain classes. We arguing about color and stuff. But what you don't realize is they're wanting to emulate us, and we trying to lose everything about us. We don't. I can't recall an article that I've ever read or an interview I've ever read where we've questioned their look. They've questioned our look so much till now some jobs can fire you basically for no other reason than you got locks in your hair.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And now you do have Caucasians that wear locks, but who primarily wears locks?
African American, black people.
And they can fire you for that main reason. But you can come to work and somebody sit next to you and they got pink, purple, blue, and green and orange in their hair.
Right.
So those are the things we got to realize. We've got to love ourselves enough to want to protect what we have. Mm-hmm. Not always be so readily to try to be somebody else. And I don't want anybody to misunderstood. There's nothing wrong. I have nothing against anybody that want a butt full of hair hanging to their butt, silky straight. I have nothing against that at all. That is your choice. But I believe whatever choices we make, we need to know why we are making those choices. Question why you think your hair got to be silky straight. Because in questioning yourself, you may find out it was because somebody taught you that was really right, and you may not even be happy with all that straight hair.
That's right.
So those are the things we got to look at. Why are we looking at our darker complexions and putting them in a class that we are substandard, and that our lighter counterparts are above us, and they should have a better life. They should be able to do this, because this is what actually is happening. We're so busy talking about racism, but we got to heal our own community first. I really believe until we heal ourselves, we can't even go out to properly fight anybody else, because the state that we're in right now, we're making it easy for them to fight us.
Mm-hmm. I would totally.
Yeah, so we got to get better on it. Watch what we say to our children. Watch what we're teaching our children. Even watch what you letting your children watch on television.
Yes.
As far as what they want to emulate. Light is not always right.
No.
Dark is not always a dreamer, because your dark is not always dreaming of wanting to be light. Just know who you are, be comfortable in who you are. That's what all of this boils down to. Never think that you're more than or less than based on your skin color. Somebody else's skin color.
We have a watcher that said, and I want to say this because this is real, raw, and relevant. We have someone said that Look, I want to lock my hair, but I'm scared. And you know, that's sad to me. And I'm thank you for posting that. Why is it that this beautiful brown sister has to be feel like she is scared to
Can
lock
I
her?
answer that one, Tara?
Yes, please.
Because you know I experienced that one. And I call my lock. It's a journey. It was when I say it was a journey. It was truly a journey, and you've got to be ready to make the journey for something as simple as we think of hair. Because when you cut it off, people and your friends, because I'm gonna tell you, this is what I experienced. Friends and family members. Ooh, your hair so nappy.
Mm-hmm.
Why you cut your hair so short? Because when I first went natural, my hair was here. I went to the barbershop. I told Cora,
Uh-oh. Can't hear you.
can
Okay.
you hear me now?
I can, yes.
Okay. I went from here to a mohawk. All I needed was a good brush in the morning. And when I did that, I had people question my sexuality. Ooh, your hair so nappy. Why you did that? That's not cute or whatnot. So I had to really become comfortable in melody. So if you make the decision to do it, you got to be ready for the journey. I had to be comfortable with melody. I even tried the band-aid, kept the big earrings on, kept the makeup on my face every day. And no, I don't even wear makeup every day. You know, just to try to fit in so people would not question me. But then the longer I went through it, I was like, you know what? I ain't worried about nobody else. This is what I want to do to myself. I'm pretty with hair or without hair. It's me. I'm comfortable in it. I don't have to prove anything to anybody else.
Yeah.
So it is a journey. And it's one you've got to be prepared for because you're going to learn that you've got to be okay with yourself. And now I look at all the people that now say, oh, your hair's so pretty. Oh, your hair is so long. And I'll be saying to myself, you weren't saying that at the beginning of this journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to be focused on what your end is going to look like. You have to be comfortable in yourself. And I always tell people if lock or natural, find a community that celebrates you. What's the name? That's on Facebook here from it. Sherry.
Oh, Sherry Copa Tut. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Sherry Copa.
she has a page. Get in a community where women are really celebrating their natural selves because it's a journey. It really is a journey.
Yeah. Well, you guys, we have been talking about colorism. It's time to deal with it within our home and in our own community so that we can deal with it on a larger scale in our society as a whole. You guys, let's deal with it. Let's stop sweeping this stuff up under the rug. Let's deal with the issue starting in our own home. Starting in our own home. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This has been Talk Therapy. We thank you guys for joining us. I think this was a great topic. And Mel, I think we may need to revisit this again because there's so much more that we can share on this. And I thank you guys that are listening, that chimed in. Look, you are beautiful in your own skin. Don't allow your parents, your husband, your sister, your brother, society, or anybody else define your looks because you are uniquely made and wonderfully and uniquely made. And wear yourself well. Be okay with who you are, however you decide to wear your hair or however you look. You make your look, you do your best with who you are. So until next Tuesday, you guys, we thank you for joining us. Anything you want to say, Mel, before we go?
Nope, no more than thank y'all for watching tonight.
All right, this has been Talk Therapy. Until next time.
Thank you so much for joining us. Come back next week for more. real, raw, and relevant information here at Talk Therapy. Sister, let's talk.